This lesson we're going to be looking at how we can sort the order of an array. And we're going to need to do that in several occasions within the upcoming lessons where we're sorting the order of this array so that we can have one item after another item, and we don't always necessarily start with the first word. And then once we've got the word's output, we're going to need to scramble the order of the letters of the word, so turning the string into an array and then utilizing that content from the array and scrambling those letters and then turning it back into a string value. So there's quite a bit of work ahead of us. Opening up our editor, and we want to introduce you to prototype sort. And what sort does is it sorts elements. So you can see here within Mozilla Developer Network, the way that sort works is if we have an array and we apply sort to it, it sorts it within an alphabetical order. So turning March, January, February, December into December, February, January, March. So it sorts it within an output order. We can also see that numerically. When we do a sort, we sort it within a numerical order. And notice as well that it's outputting it within the string value. So it's taking 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's not taking 1, 4, 21, 30. So keep that in mind when you are using sort, that these are the outputs that you can expect, and sorting it via the string value. The one that we want to make use of is the compare function. So using the array with the compare function, and the compare function allows us to compare a first element with a second element. And when we're using a comparison of the two elements, if we don't have any specific values that are being returned back, it's going to automatically sort according to each character's Unicode code point value according to string conversion for each element. So what it does is basically what we see up here within that sort. So if we're not specifying this content, and if we're not returning a value, then we don't have the ability to select out and reorder the array. And what we want to do is make use of the compare function. And also keep in mind as well that the array is sorted in place. So no copy is made, there's no duplicate of the array, and the array is just simply resorted. So the item's index numbers are resorted. The way that the compare function works, so we've got a compare function. If it's less than 0, then it's going to sort A and index value of B, and so on comes first. If it returns 0, then it's going to leave A and B unchanged in the respective for each order. And if it's greater than 0, then it's going to sort B in an index lower than A, so it's going to reverse order them. So what's going to happen now is that as we loop through the contents of the array, and we do that with the sort anyway, we can randomly order those items. And there's a good example here about how the compare is going to work. So combining compare with sort is going to give you the ability to randomize the order of the contents of your array. And you can see that we're specifying that sort value, whether we're sorting at A minus B or A is greater than B, and so on. So depending on what this value number is falling at, you're going to be expecting a different sort order. And that's going by what's output here. So having said all of that, let's put it into play. And this is essentially going to give us a way to sort our array. We're using the myWords array. We're applying the method of sort. And if we were to just do this, and I'll console log out myWords, and as we work through how this is going to work, you're going to see that the array is going to be changing. So refresh, start, we see that sort sorted it in alphabetical order. And that's not exactly what we want to do. Is we want to apply that compare function. So we'll have that function sitting inside of the array. We're going to take item number A and B. So selecting A and B, and we're going to update the order of these items that are being output. And if we don't provide any type of return, so you can see here, if I'm returning -1, and we press start game. If I'm returning 1, we press start game, so that's a different order to it. So originally we had it starting with brackets, now we're starting with JavaScript. And if we return back a value of 0, then we have the same order that we have the original array in, so nothing changes in that format. So now if we apply a value of math, so we do a 0.5 minus using the math random method, This is going to give us a random value, and as we know with math random, it's a random 0 point and a bunch of decimal places. So if we're doing it this way, it could potentially, it's got a 50-50 chance of being positive or negative essentially. And it's got a 50-50 chance of sorting the order of those items in the array. So let's try that out. So now we see that we've got JavaScript HTML brackets coding Lawrence course. Refresh it. Course Lawrence HTML JavaScript brackets coding, and this is a quick and easy way to sort contents of your array. So I do suggest that you do try this out as well for yourself. So taking that my words array, so the one that we've just changed and resorted the order of it, go through for each item that's available within that array. We've got all of the items as we loop through. So going for each, we've got a function where we're going to pass in an argument of item. An item is going to be the value of the item. So if I was to log out item, you're going to see that it's going to log out all of those items within that order. So it's taking Lawrence course brackets, JavaScript coding HTML, and because we've got that sort, we've got a different sort order always. So we can always take that first item that's available within the array and show that and display that to the player. And the way that we're going to use that is we're going to use that same array prototype. I'll just call it temp value of item, and using JavaScript split, we're going to split this and turn it into an array. And if we output the value of temp, you're going to see that now that word is within array format. So all the letters are going to be broken up into an array. So you see that each one of these gets broken up into an array. And now it's just a matter of doing the exact same thing we did before and resorting that order of temp. So taking that newly created array temp, applying the function sort, and we're going to reorganize the order of that function, of that array, using the math random method. We're going to resort this array. So let's try that one more time. So now you can see that the words are scrambled. So we just need to set a value, and we can call it temp1 and equal that to join, and then let's output temp1 instead of that join array. So refresh. And now you can see that we've got random order for these items. And we're all ready to start outputting it to the player because now we've randomized and we've scrambled the words and making it a little bit more difficult to select those. So coming up next, I'm going to show you, we're going to build out some elements and we're going to output them on the page for the player to be able to select those as the words come up. So that's still to come in the next lesson.